This episode of the Mark My Words pod and vlogcast are brought to you by the Coatings Alliance, manufacturers of C2 paint. The Coatings Alliance wants you to know that they are a cooperative of independent paint retailers that manufacture a brand C2 with policies and practices specifically designed to help independent retailers succeed and to protect the markets once they develop them. If you're interested in learning more about C2 paints, go to c2dealer.com. Hey everyone, it's Mark. Thanks for joining me today. With me today on my episode of the Mark My Words pod and vlogcast is Tom Hill. Tom, as you know, he's been on this show before. Tom is the CEO of C2 and the Coatings Alliance. C2 and the Coatings Alliance is an organization that I have some affection for. They're a group of independent paint retailers. They manufacture their own paints. They work together to make sure that their policies and practices are always in support of their independent dealer members. And so I always liked the organization. I always appreciated the way they came to market, and I always appreciated what they had to say to add to the conversation that we're having as independent retailers. And so I do often reach out to them. And of course, this episode is sponsored by them. Which obviously I would only do with organizations that I had some respect for, and I have respect for the way that they go to market. And so speaking to Tom recently, he was sharing about a new project that they've been working on. I'd done a little work on this project with them myself, just advising them where I could. Their goal was to come up with a program that independent dealers could adopt specifically for this one product that they have that is just setting it on fire in their experience. They've got a good history of sales with their traditional paints, and then 4 years ago, this product all of a sudden just jumps to the top of the list. And so C2 dealers, the ones that I've spoken to, which is a fair number of them, C2 dealers are having a lot of success. They're selling a lot of this product. And then in addition to that, they're making a lot of money when they sell this product. And so a lot of the listeners here, I do know that a lot of you who listen work for coatings manufacturers. I do know that a lot of you are aligned with our industry in some other way, but a good percentage of my listeners are just independent retailers. And that's really who this episode is for, is just for independent retailers who are interested in coming up with ways to grow their business, grow their profitability, and to do it in a way that protects them in their market once they grow a market with a particular product. And so C2's got some really cool ideas with this one particular product, Guard, this exterior wood finish. And it's really been, like I said, I've spoken to dozens at this point of C2 retailers, and they are all having the same experience with this product. And so what a great opportunity for retailers to, for the price of a couple of bucks and for the risk of nothing, because as you'll hear Tom talk about later in this episode, they're so confident in this product that they're willing to take it all back if it doesn't sell. And so for the price of nothing, it really gives a retailer the opportunity to build a little niche inside their stores, make a really good margin doing it, and be protected from other manufacturers who could encroach if you were to do something like that with one of their products. So let's give Tom a listen and see what he has to say. And as always, thank you very much for tuning in, and like and subscribe and all those other things, and write to me, email me, text me. Let me know what you want to hear about. Let me know what you're enjoying. I always appreciate hearing from you. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. I'm here today with Tom Hill. Tom is the CEO of the Coatings Alliance, makers of C2 paint. Tom, how are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing great, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you. Good morning. So we were just talking before this about shots, and you were saying that your wife, due to her work situation, is getting ready to get her vaccine. What about your mom and dad? I know that they're a little older and they're living up in New York with you now. Have they been able to get their shots?
So they have not yet. My father is waiting just a few months, based on some advice from his doctors due to a couple of different things
He had
he's
some
got
health
going on.
issues, right?
Yeah, nothing like sort of an objector type status or anything like that, but just
Right,
waiting medically.
right,
And my mother is on the list, so hers is coming within 2 or 3 weeks, something like that.
right.
So she's
All
doing
right.
well.
Great, great. Well, good luck to them. Good luck to them.
Thanks.
So we wanted to have you on today. You wanted to be on today to talk about a new program that you guys had, and we've talked about this a little bit before. You were on a few weeks ago, and we teased it a little bit when we spoke about Jeff Powell and the new relationship that C2 has with Diamond Vogel. But C2 is interesting to me, and you and I have talked about this before. Most paint manufacturers, if you ask them, to name their 5 best, their 10 best selling products, they're all going to be interior latex eggshell base one, interior flat white, interior flat base one. But C2 has a very unique product that makes it to the top. And that's what I wanted to talk about, because you guys have a new program centered around it, right? So why don't we just jump in and tell us, you have this product called Guard, which you're here to tell us about.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, C2 Guard falls into that exterior siding decking space. So the coating itself, it prevents the effects of water ingress, right? So it's in that waterproofer, semi-transparent stain. And we've had a ton of success with this with our dealer base, really anywhere across the country. Obviously, those segments that have, if you're in a mountainous type terrain with decks and siding and log cabins and those kinds of structures, it does really well there. It also does exceptionally well in sort of lake communities, vacation communities, and also coastal communities. So those are the peak locations for this product. But really, it doesn't matter where you are. You've got decks and siding everywhere, and this has been a winner for everyone who's touched it so far.
Yeah, that was one of the things you were telling me in the prep, is that this has basically been successful for nearly 100% of your dealers in all the different markets, in terms of types of markets where they exist. This product has been a winner for you. Has that been the case?
That's for sure. And I'll give you just one specific sales scenario, right? This is where it's such a home run. Every dealer in this space is familiar with that client who just comes in kind of with their head hanging low every couple of years because their deck is peeling again and they've got to strip it or sand it and get it back to square one and then reapply. That's just sort of the maintenance that goes on in this space. C2 Guard actually solves that problem for that client who's so sick of doing that. C2 Guard, the way it works, it creates its water barrier under the surface with no film whatsoever. Therefore, it cannot peel. And so for that client who's just sick of the prep process and continuing to have to do that over and over again, that's what Guard takes away. Mm-hmm. And so it's been an amazing success.
Is your point that Guard does not need to be reapplied every 2 years as other semi-transparents, or is your point that Guard allows just for an easier process to reapply, or both?
A little bit of both. So in terms of the way the coating works, it does its job. It protects that substrate, and it doesn't need to be done every 2 years. If on the other hand, you have a client who's in love with a particular color, those colors need to be maintained more frequently than sort of the coating does. And in that case, it's just a simple pressure wash and reapply. No scraping, no sanding, right? All that stuff is done away with.
Nice. And, I have a couple of friends in the group, my relationship with Harry and Jeff. Mm-hmm. They're in very different markets. I mean, Harry's in the city, Harry's in Providence, and Jeff is in the middle of nowhereville, where there are log cabins and stuff like that. And they both sing this product's praises. They feel like it's as high a margin product as they have in their store, and it's as good a mover in the space as they have in their store.
That's right, and you hit the nail on the head. Obviously, we don't want to bore your listeners with all the technicals, because we can get into the different ways this product works, and it really is interesting when you're at that level. But generally speaking, this product, whether you're in the city, whether you're in the country, whether you're in the mountains, whether you're on the coast, like, it works for everyone. And
Yeah.
and that's why I think your listeners would be so interested in what it is.
Right. And so let's speak to specifically to the dealers now, because there are a lot of people that are listening that are not just paint dealers, but other
Right.
people in our space. But let's chat just with the retailers. Tell me a little bit about, you guys have a program that you're calling Dealer Select for this guard product. Tell me, and it's guard with a D, no S, correct?
Guard with a D, C2
I
guard,
Right. I was
singular.
on a meeting with Harry and Tia and maybe some of the other people, and I made the mistake of calling it guards, and the whole room jumped on me all at once. So right, exactly. No S, no S.
Yeah.
And so you have a program, you built a program specifically around this C2 guard. Why don't we talk a little bit about how that program works for dealers?
Yeah, so I would say highest level in terms of philosophy, C2 is a dealer-driven company. We get that feedback. You mentioned a couple of the guys, Harry and Jeff, and we hear from dealers all across the country, and we try to immediately incorporate that feedback into our programs. And what dealers are saying now more than ever, this has always been the case, but now more than ever, we're trying to do more with less. Another way to talk about it, you hear dealers often saying, hey, do I have the opportunity to cherry pick this line or that line? And C2 has stepped back and said, you know what? Yes, let's give our dealers the opportunity to cherry pick this real gem within our line. And so that's what we're doing. C2 Guard is a program. You're talking maybe 5 to 7 SKUs total for the program. We've created a package that all in is around about $1,500 to get started. So very minimal order, very minimal reorder points, very minimal investment. And the dealers are making a keystone margin on this product. So it just works. The
Right.
idea that it's a small entry fee and that you can make money from day one, that's a scenario that works for every dealer. So that's why we've called it Select. A dealer can just select this little gem within our line and start running.
It's interesting that you talk about this. I've always been a fan, and I know that manufacturers do not agree with me, but I've always been a fan of allowing dealers to cherry pick a line. In fact, I think most manufacturers would say, well, listen, I'm not going to sell you my number one seller because I really need you to take my number 2, 3, and 4. So unless you take them all, and so dealers end up with complicated decisions to make. I've always felt like, in fact, dealers are more likely to come back to you if you give them your best product first. Then they're having a positive experience, and they're more likely to look to you when they have other opportunities within their stores.
Right. Well, and that's why, from the manufacturing perspective, often the hurdle for both of us, for both dealer and manufacturer, is the upfront investment. So the reason typically you're asking for not only the number one, but the 2, 3, 4 product is that there's a tint machine, there's a color center, there's a, on and on and on. And everybody has to sort of recover their costs as part of that equation. The beauty of this guard program, the C2 guard program, is that it's, there's none of that. It's just a few SKUs and it gets you off and running and making money really from day one.
And so you talked about there were 5 to 7 SKUs, but when we did the prep, it was clear there's really one product here that this is centered on, right? And the rest we're talking about is small little bits just to fill out the line. But this is really one product, gallon cans of semi-transparent, an outstanding wood preservative and stain and treatment that you're selling for double your cost.
No, that's exactly correct. So the base product is a gallon of C2 Guard, which can be sold clear or in its semi-transparent form, and everything else. So that's a SKU. Everything else are the SKUs to kind of support that gallon.
So Tom, when you say semi-transparent, you're talking about the tinted version of that same product, correct?
Yes, that's right. That's right. The way we have it set up is primarily a dealer will have, and most dealers have this laying around the shop. And that's another reason why we've kind of gone this route, is we want to make it as simple as possible to get started. But if you take a sort of a 4 canister manual tint machine, that's what we built this platform around. So we've selected 4 colorants, a couple of trans oxides, a white and a black. And with this simple four color and tinting system, you can create all of the space of color that sells at retail. Can you hit
Right.
all the funky stuff? No, but it gets the
Right.
job done, right? It gets you
Right. You're going to
90%
get
of the way there, and you
98%
don't
of
need
it
to
right.
worry about the other stuff. So,
Right, exactly.
it's so simple. It's so easy to maintain. It's so proven. Everybody's done this forever. And we figure that's the way to set up a very simple platform where a dealer can sell a lot of volume with just a tiny infrastructure.
And so there are a limited selection of colors, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's four colorants, but really within that range. So we've created colors, say 9 colors, 10 colors. Again, this can be very customizable, but the colors that tend to sell. So we're using that as a starting point. The beauty of this manual machine is that if a dealer wants to, they can get into custom spaces. They can create that particular shade that a customer is looking for. So it does give quite a bit of flexibility.
Or even if a dealer's got, listen, we sell a tremendous amount of Cabot or Aura, not Aura, pardon me, or Arbor Coat in this one particular color, and we want to upgrade that customer into a better product, you can match that color with your 4 colorants and you're off to the races.
That's right. That's right. A dealer has all the flexibility they would have with another brand, just in this little simple system.
Right. And so you've got this sort of easy to set up and sounds like cheap to set up colorant package for this, basically this one product, right? It's really what we're talking about.
That's right. That's right. And so to give you a range, right, that we have dealers that are, selling hundreds of thousands of dollars of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm aware.
With 1 or 2 SKU. Like that's the potential here. Obviously, just like any new product, you got to talk about it. You have to go out there and, do that part of the work. But it does something unique in the market, and it's so well respected that the opportunity, I don't want to say it's limitless virtually though. And where else can you get that kind of bang out of a 1 or 2 SKU line? It really is a tremendous opportunity.
It gives you the opportunity as a dealer, it gives you the opportunity to use it 2 ways. You can use it if you have an existing business in this space. You can use it as an opportunity to improve your margins and improve your customers' sort of experience. And if you don't really have something in this space already, then it for next to nothing, it sort of gets you into this space.
So I'll give you one story around that. That's an amazing point. One of our great paint retailers in Western Canada, when we launched this product 4 years ago, something like that. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's another point for the dealer, just as an aside. This is not something new. This is not brand new technology. This is really a proven program that we found a way to make more readily available to all the dealers. So, but anyway, one of our retailers in Western Canada was not selling stain and really felt like he was missing out on this segment of the marketplace. And over a 4-year period, he has built up his stain file to the point where it's almost equal to his paint file.
Wow.
It's just a tremendous opportunity. And it's new clients, it's new footsteps, it's new opportunities to not only push this product, but to introduce them to your suite of products and services and really use it as a wedge to, increase your share.
One of the things that the sort of the story of the rest of my life, my work with e-commerce and stuff. And one of the things that I'm talking to dealers about all the time is they now have this platform to make products, just individual products, sort of stand out with them, the dealership, as the brand. And we're the brand who brings you this special and unusual product, because now you have the ability through your website to highlight or focus on just one thing, one product, one property, one application. You have the ability to do that. Are you seeing dealers starting to put this product up on their sites?
Yes, for sure. So in fairness, I have to say that not only is it limited to this product, but I would say that it speaks to the power of that e-commerce platform generally. So you're giving us a specific
I know you guys are,
but that
I know
platform
you guys have
generally
been pushing this.
Well, it's true. And I've had a dealer who just launched their site maybe 5 weeks ago. And, just getting started, very little work against it. They're at, like, he said he was billing, just over $1,000 a week, just getting started. Like, they've done nothing. And so again, it's an amazing opportunity to provide differentiation in the marketplace, to communicate in a way that it's just, think about how you would have to do that with staff and the amount of work and focus it takes and training to get the staff on message like that. With your e-commerce platform, it's a simple programming, a couple hours of work there and it's done. Your clients are hearing exactly what you want them to be focused on.
And the differentiation is a really great point, Tom, because with a website, you have the ability to use a product like this to be the differentiator. So if you're trying, which you ought to be in your markets, if you're trying to use your websites as a means of making yourselves stand out from the Sherwin-Williams, from the big box stores, frankly, from other retailers who don't do as good a job as you, from other independents who aren't doing as good a job as you. One of the ways that you have to do that is by providing unusual or harder to get products that work, that do the job that you need them to do. So good for you guys in this space. I know you've been really, you meaning the group C2 has been really making a big push on e-commerce, and I'm seeing the results of that. And so fabulous that your dealers figured out how to use this guard product to sort of help them along the way there.
No, that's right. It's been so effective. We just obviously there's self-interest in every, we're looking to sell more product, and there's no doubt about that. But within the C2
listen,
context,
Tom, there's self-interest right here. This episode is sponsored by C2 and the Coatings Alliance. That's how the world works.
That's right. But the equal truth is that our organization is one whose DNA is to support independent dealers. We found that this is a winner. And we really want dealers to experience the profitability and the additional security that comes along with, as we've been talking about. How can we carve out little niches where dealers can occupy a space and to dominate a space, really? And in order to do that well, not only do they have to gain the market share, but it has to be a profitable space. So many times these, the everything, just the profitability gets chipped away. Right, chipped away. And if we can create
particularly
something,
once something else comes into your space, pardon me for interrupting, but once you build a little market with a Cabot product or some other unusual product that may line up similarly to this, but as soon as you do, somebody else figures it out and they're selling it for $5 less a gallon.
That's right. And that's the cycle for a dealer, right? Build it up and then just watch steadily the value of that little space to be, sort of the bottomed out. And that's what we want to try to avoid. The other thing that happens, I have to point back, this is a product that came to C2 as a result of one of our dealers, right? So this whole idea came from a dealer. And that's the big picture of the Coatings Alliance, is we want to stay connected to our dealers so that we can continue to get that feedback and find the opportunities that not only work in one market, but that can work in all markets. And C2 Guard is one of those spaces.
I've shared this with you many times. I've known you for a long time. I've known members of your board for a long time. I always thought that the structure of C2 was really cool. As far as I know, am I right in saying on the leadership team of C2, you are the only one who is not an independent paint dealer?
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So if I want a group of people to make decisions that benefit independent paint dealers, why don't I go to a group of independent paint dealers? Right. And so that's what I always liked about C2, frankly. And that's one of the reasons, probably why I have you on so often, is I like what you guys have to say.
Well, thank you. That's our mission, and that's the beauty of independent paint dealers. They're not afraid to give feedback ever.
Right.
And so that's for good and for bad. And you know what? If we do drift in our mission, it doesn't take long for us to hear about it, and it gives us an opportunity to course correct. And I feel like that's my job, is to sort of be humble enough, right, to accept accept the feedback just as it is, and to help make decisions that will benefit this group in the process.
Well, any man, Tom, who's lost his hair knows all about being humble, right?
Yeah, no
we
doubt
know that
about it.
experience. We know that experience.
Okay.
And so let's talk a little bit about how dealers get in and how they reorder.
So the reorder point is just a simple 12-gallon reorder. It's almost like buying through distribution, right? I think that's typically a 12-gallon order from distribution in a lot of cases. So that's the floor for reorders, a simple 12
That's
gallons.
freight prepaid.
That's right. Now,
Terrific.
as reorder sizes increase, obviously there are economies that are built into, that's why paint companies build up to that 48-gallon freight prepaid order. That's the industry standard. So what we're doing is we're offering dealers discounts reflecting those economies as they build from their 12-gallon minimum order to the 48-gallon sort of standard freight prepaid order. So we're passing those savings along right to the dealer.
And this product, so it sounds to me, I'm doing just some quick math in my head. It's about, you said it was about a $1,500 investment on about a 48. So this product costs about $30 or $35 a gallon?
Yeah, right in that range. Right in that
and
range.
what are dealers selling it for generally?
They're selling it for about $80 a gallon. The MSRP
Right.
is $89.99, obviously out the door with contractor discounts and those sorts of
Right.
things, right? $80 a gallon is probably where it's ending up.
So you've got a product that you can sell to professional painters that are doing exteriors and using this type of product. You've got a product here that you can make a 50 or even 75 percent markup on, compared to something in that space. Generally, if it's from one of the, from one of the branded companies, Penafin or Cabot's or any of those, you're looking at more like 35 or 40%. So almost double the profit margin percentage.
No, that's right. And that's what makes the world go round. That's what makes these programs work so well. On the one hand, the products have to do what they say, and this one does. This one's got a unique attributes. But equally important is the profitability for the dealer. And that's what makes everything work.
Right. And so once the product is in their store and the reorders are set, you said at 12 gallons or more, discounts available. How about the merchandising? How do you sell it in the stores?
So in the stores, we have very simple merchandising support. I would recommend for dealers that do have websites, a quick landing page, right? That's a simple and easy thing to do. The Coatings Alliance and C2 Paint provides some merchandising, right? Promotional type material for the store, stand-up banners, sell sheets, postcards, those kinds of things.
Digital versions of that as well, I'm assuming.
Yes, everything both in print and digital to match. And then finally, really, it's just a matter of talking about this product, right? It takes a little bit of time for the dealer and staff to understand what it does and how to sell it. We provide training. Zoom training, we have pre-recorded training, we have videos explaining what the technology does, all prepared. But once the dealer is set with that, it's just a matter of talking about it, getting it into people's hands. And I think that one scenario is the easiest one to start with, because everyone can associate with that client who's frustrated by the prep work to do their deck every couple of years. And that's just a very simple way to start.
And with the color merchandising, you and I had spoken once before that C2 was trying some interesting things, only displaying colors online and having dealers using iPads, which are of course reusable, or some sort of tablet, I should say, which is of course reusable, versus charts, which get thrown away. Is this part of that as well?
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, this is one of the most interesting spaces. If you're gonna try a digital color chip, this is sort of the perfect space to do it in, because the ellipse of acceptability for color is so wide here due to the fact that it's semi-transparent and the tone of the wood is part of the finished product. So there's quite an array if this specific color chip is the starting point. Where it finishes, it can be significantly different. So truly, color chips in this space are to give a representation, an idea to the client of what it could look like.
And the little differentiation between the actual color and the color that displays on a tablet is somewhat irrelevant, is your point, because in this type of product, the acceptable delta is 10% and the iPad is only showing 5%.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Even in a deck, right? Every board
Right.
has a slightly different hue than the next, and
Right.
and even within a board it can have. So there's so much variability in this space. It's a perfect opportunity to try that concept.
Right. Right. And so dealers that get in with this, if they were to find that this program wasn't for them, how do they get out?
Easy in, easy out. This is just very simple for us to take back into inventory. If that's the case,
Because you're selling so much of it, right?
And off you go.
Selling so much of it, right?
Chances are we started with a with the tint machine that maybe you had sitting around the shop to begin with, and so it's just a simple product return, and away we go.
Right.
But as I said, I think the likelihood of that scenario is very, very low.
So I like what you guys are saying. It certainly sounds like a program that has been built by paint dealers. You hear that, often people say it. This is, terrific for paint dealers, but it sounds like this is terrific for paint dealers. $1,500 or so gets you in to try something that your experience has told you dealers all around the United States and Canada are selling well at an extremely high margin. And if we're wrong, we'll take the product back.
Mm-hmm. And I would say this year in particular, I think it's a wonderful opportunity as well, just due to everything that's going on in the world. I mean, it's always a great segment, but now more than ever, particularly in the Northeast, people are going to want to get outside the minute they can. There's going to be a lot of work going on. I see this as being a very active space in particular this year.
Yeah, I agree. Well, listen, this was a really great episode, Tom, and a really great experience to learn about this product. And so I appreciate it very much. We're getting to the end. Is there anything that you wanted to say to wrap this up, just to speak directly to the dealers?
Well, I'd just say if you've heard this podcast and are interested in this program, just take a few minutes and go to c2dealer.com. And you'll see Dealer Select right there in the menu at the top, and go ahead and explore what we've posted there. My contact information is there as well. So if you are at all interested, go to that website. Please contact me. I really would look forward to the opportunity to connect with you and to talk about how this program can be a success in your store.
Terrific. Well, what a great way to end it. Tom Hill, CEO of the Coatings Alliance, manufacturer of C2 Paint. Thank you very much for joining me today. As always, I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Mark.